Welcome back to Healing in the Dark. Today's episode is a bit different. Normally I sit here and tell my own story. Today we're handing the microphone to someone else whose voice deserves to be heard. She's only 15. She's experienced things that many adults couldn't even imagine. She's experienced domestic violence in her family. She's lived through addiction around her. She's been removed from her own home, changed schools, experienced emergency accommodation. And somehow, amongst all of that, she's still trying to figure out who she is. Before we begin I want to say that this conversation isn't about judging anyone. It's not about blaming parents. It's not about blaming the child protection system. It's not about blaming addiction. It's just about understanding. Every child has a voice and deserves to be heard. Behind every child protection report, every placement, every school change, every statistic, there's a child who's scared and confused and just trying to survive. Now, I know this whole conversation and podcast is completely out of your comfort zone. So, yeah, it's not going to be easy, but I genuinely believe your story is one that people need to hear. It's not because you're 15, but because there are thousands of young people out there living exactly where you've lived. This and go, yeah, I know exactly how that feels, and make them feel that little bit less alone. Before we get into everything, we should probably tell everyone how we met. And go from there. So I first met Shan through my ex-husband. In 2018, she was only 8 years old. I remember she would ring the intercom with her brother and sister, and we'd just spend the day swimming and playing, and they would have random sleepovers. And yeah, they were walking from Broadmeadow all the way to Newcastle West. So good, 30-minute walk. She was so innocent, so small. So cute. She was always hungry. Always hungry. We always had a stash of snacks and stuff. There was lots of just, swimming days and hanging out and watching movies. One thing people should know about this episode is we're definitely not sitting here pretending that life's perfect. That's the whole point of it. We've spent the last couple of days just hanging out, laughing, catching up, and it definitely made me realise that people here, adults, talk about the childhood or trauma all the time, but they never hear it from a kid who's actually living it. So today, that's what we're doing. Introducing Shanity from Queensland. She's currently 15 years old. So Shan, just start off with telling everyone a bit about yourself. What do you enjoy, where you're from, and just a little summary.
My name is Shan and I'm 15 years old and I'm from Newcastle, but currently living in Brisbane with my older sister and my niece and nephew.
And what do you enjoy doing at the moment?
I enjoy hanging out with my mates, spending family time, playing games that get my brain thinking, even though it drives me insane.
Are you going to school?
No, I'm doing a beauty course with eyelashing.
So when did you drop out of school?
I dropped out of school year 8.
And that's when you began your beauty course? Or did you only just start that recently?
Only a few months ago.
Yeah. So in the meantime, what were you doing?
Probably just staying at home,
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Just hanging out with friends,
Yeah.
chilling, TikToking.
Yeah.
How would you describe yourself?
I don't know, I would say I was the best person, but I try to be.
Yeah. What are you like boring and just sit at home, or you're pretty fun, outgoing, energetic?
It depends on my mood on the day.
Yeah, so you struggle a lot with depression and anxiety,
Yeah.
and that affects obviously you going to school
Yeah.
and your social life.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And when do you think depression set in for you?
Probably. I don't know. 3 years ago. 4 years ago.
And what was happening in your life around that time? Or when did you realise that it was depression?
Probably when, I don't know, everything just started going downhill and I was in emergency housing and like, I don't know, we're moving around a lot.
And why were you in emergency housing?
Just because, like...
Previous family domestic violence between your mum and her partners?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and...
So your first time going into emergency accommodation was at the age of what?
I was probably 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, just turned 13. And then we only just got out of it like a few months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your mum's still in the transition of getting a house, and
Yeah.
she's going through the system to get a housing home and all that at the moment, so it's been a long process, 3-4 years. Yeah. And that's exhausting. How can you possibly stay in high school?
Yeah. I don't know.
I imagine it would have been easy to lose interest to want to go to school.
Well, yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's like when your mum just goes through stuff, you just want to be there as much as you can for her.
Yeah.
And you just want to stay by her side every minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not that easy.
No, it's not.
I don't know.
And before that, you were removed from your mum's home and put into kinship care, into my care.
Yeah.
That was 2021?
Yeah, it would have been
September 2021.
I was 11.
You were 11.
Yeah.
Do you remember the day that they had picked you up from school?
They didn't pick me up from school. So what happened was I went there.
You just thought it was a normal day going to school?
Well, they said that I had a meeting because I already had a case open with them.
Yeah.
And I had to go to the doc's office for the meeting, but they just turned around and said that I was coming to you 6 hours away.
And then you were just put in a car and that was it? You didn't get to say goodbye to mum?
No.
You didn't get to say goodbye to your sister.
No, it was her
Dad.
birthday too.
It was her birthday.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was, she only just turned 16, I think. Or 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was her birthday, yeah. And I was meant to be going over that afternoon for her birthday.
Did they give you any reasons to why you
No.
couldn't return home? No.
No,
Do you remember much about the car ride or?
They just said I was going to yours for a few weeks and then, like, I don't know, I was coming back. And then I didn't end up coming back.
Well, you did, but not for a few years.
Yeah.
And you were 11. So that would have been really scary.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, it was hard, like, you know, being separated from Mum and everything.
Just tell me a bit about what life was like coming home before you were taken into my care. At 11 years old, you could...
Just picture what mood everyone's in.
Just from the blinds.
Yeah.
If the blinds were closed, oh shit, Mum's in a bad mood. Mum's having a bad day. Blinds are open, hell yeah, Mum's happy. Really? Yeah. So you were always just on, I guess you would have been on edge. Yeah.
Sometimes I didn't want to go home just because, you know, Mum's in a bad mood. She's going to be like, do the dishes, do the washing, do this. Like, you know, and then she's going to be like, no one helps around this house.
Yeah. Is that why you started coming, like you used to come hang out with us and, yeah. Because you didn't like being at home.
Yeah. Because, you know, it was just always loud. There was people always coming and going. Mum wasn't always home because she was always working. You know.
Did you always know the people coming and going?
Not really. Basically like a trap house, if you think of it.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in like a trap house. That's what Sissy always explains it like.
Do you remember like seeing what anyone was doing and thinking that it's bad or that it's drugs, or it was just how it was?
It's just how it was, really. Like, it's just, they never really showed me anything. If they were doing anything, it was behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Like, without us kids knowing about it. Like, we were pretty sheltered, like, in that.
Yeah.
And, like, even when, like, on my 14th birthday and that, like, I didn't even know what that shit was until Sissy sat me down and explained everything.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that. It's pretty hectic.
Do you remember, like, with the people coming and going, like, was there always, you know, music or, like, yelling and fights and police coming and going? Was any of that?
There were police coming and going because of John. He was always in and out of jail and that, and, like, he had curfew checks and everything. Okay. And
they'll come and check on him.
Yeah, and they'll come check on him, and obviously he lived with us, so they had to come to our house.
Yeah.
And yeah, he had done like 2 years and then got out on bail, and then but he just couldn't stay out. Basically, just kept going back in because I don't know, he just can't stay out.
And at the time, did you know, like, obviously you knew he was in and out of jail?
Yeah, we'd go visit him and that, and like.
And what was your understanding of that situation? Like, was he like a person that you shouldn't be around, or he was just someone that you should be around, he's just in a bad situation?
Well, I look at him like my stepdad sort of thing, like,
yeah.
You know, like, he always was there doing stuff for us kids. He always made sure, like, us kids had money for food, and or like the cupboards were always full.
Yeah.
It's just, like, I don't know.
Yeah, he just had the police checking on him.
Yeah. It's because Mum's always made sure the cupboards and that are always full, and we always have what we need and that. It's just because when Luke and Daniel and everything were little, she went through like, so my nan and pop kidnapped them and went through court and everything, and then my nan and pop used to lie a lot to like the kids and that about mum, but it was like everything that they said was all lies, just for them to hate mum, because that's how much my nan hated mum, because my nan didn't want to have mum. So she was just so nasty.
Yeah, like, so she just made your mum's life hard.
Like, my nan would belt mum for no reason, and then when, like, my pop would get home, like, my nan would say, oh, I haven't, like, belted her yet, and then pop would do it and belt her.
Yeah, so she got, like, freaking double whammy.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're just gonna close up this episode. Just have a moment of reflection. You know, trauma doesn't start with one person. It doesn't just suddenly appear. It grows. It gets passed down from one generation to the next, and often without anybody meaning for it to happen. Just listening to Shan's story, it's impossible not to see that. You know, a little girl growing up around domestic violence, a mother carrying her own trauma, a grandmother whose pain shaped the way she treated her own daughter. 3 generations of women carrying wounds that were never truly healed. And somewhat in the middle of that was a little girl trying to make sense of a world that never felt safe. One thing I've learned through sharing my own story on this podcast is that healing can never begin if we only judge the behaviour. We have to be willing to ask, what happened to that person? You know, what's their story? Because this behaviour isn't like it's... The pain is usually the cause. Today's episode isn't about blame, it's about understanding. It's about recognising that every child deserves safety, stability and support. It's about asking ourselves whether we're doing enough to help families break these cycles before generations grow up carrying the same pain. In our next episode, we're going to continue with Shan's story. We'll talk about what happened after she was reunited with a mum. We'll explore about what life looked like when they were trying to rebuild after everything they'd been through. We'll talk about what happens when a family returns home carrying years of trauma, but without the support to navigate the difficulties that were to come next. You know, we'll hear Shan's story in her own words, what it felt like as a 13-year-old trying to survive, 13 to 14, even to this day, 15 years old, in an environment that was already under enormous pressure. We'll talk about how that pain showed up and how she began numbing that pain, how she was feeling at just 14 years old, drugs, relationships. It became her way of escaping emotions that no child should have to carry. But most importantly, we're here to talk about hope. It isn't a story about a young girl defined by trauma. It's a story about resilience and survival. It's a story about a young girl who is finding the system, the strength to tell her truth in the hope that another young person might hear it and realise they're not alone. If today's conversations reminded you of anything, I hope it's this, that children don't choose their environments they're born into. They don't choose domestic violence. They don't choose addiction. They don't choose neglect. But they do deserve adults who are willing to listen, to understand, and walk beside them as they heal.